Welcome learners. In today's video, we will learn number 1, what is a research gap, number 2, forms of research gap, number 3, how to find a research gap, and number 4, I will share an example video how you can find a research gap, how you can identify a research gap from a research paper. So in short, this video is going to be very useful. This video is going to be a complete package if you want to learn research about research gap. So it's a humble request, please watch this video till end in order to avoid or miss any step. So watch this video till end. So let's start this video without wasting any further time. Welcome to Murad Academy, the place where people come to learn. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, then please subscribe it and don't forget to press on the bell icon to get notification of my new and latest useful videos. Let's start this informative and useful video. What is research gap? A question which comes in mind of every research student, every research scholar, that what is research gap? If you don't know about research gap, then you will not be able to find a good research gap from a research paper. So it's very important to learn that what is research gap. So let's learn. What is a research gap? Number 1, topics not addressed. Yes, what does this mean? This means that you should look for their topics, for their research areas which are not addressed, which are not studied in the current study or in your base paper or in the current literature. So you have to, so research gap is that which topics and areas which are not addressed in the current study, in simple words. Next, the questions which are not answered in the current study or by the current literature review. So research gap is all the questions related to that issues or areas which are not answered or which are kept unanswered or which are left unanswered. So this is your research gap. Okay, the first was the topics which are not addressed by your current study. Then second is the questions which are not answered by your current study. This is research gap. Point number 3, issues not addressed. Yes, what does this mean? This means that issues, the current issues or the existing issues which are not highlighted, not addressed, not answered by the current research. So this is a research gap. Next point is areas not studied. Yes, the area, the important area, the area skipped by the current study due to whatever reason, due to time constraints, or they were unable to answer all the questions. So those which areas they have skipped or they have not answered due to different reasons, this is your research gap. Next is unexplored areas, subjects, topics, domains. This is also a research gap. This in simple words, if you can see that the unexplored areas, especially which that have some scope for future research. Okay, so this is also your research gap. I will repeat this line if you haven't understood that. And unexplored areas that have scope for future research. So those areas which have scope in your upcoming studies for upcoming time. So this is also a research gap. Next is underexplored areas that have scope for future research. This is also called a research gap. So I hope after I have discussed these 6 points, you are pretty clear about that what is a research gap. Now we will move to our next part of our video. And sorry, one part I forgot, that it's relationships which are missing in the current study. How you can find relationships? Simply you have to read that article. You have to read number 1, the research limitations, and number 2, the future research suggestions. Then you will be able to know that what relations, what variables this study has failed to answer or has failed to cover or have missed it. Then you can also see the results of the study. Okay, you can also get clearer idea about that which variable they have not find there, which variables relationship they have not find it, and which variables they have not studied. So these are the 7 points which are related to research gap. After understanding the research points, we are clear that what is research gap. Now we will go for our next part. which is research gaps forms. Yes, research gaps have different kinds and different forms which most people don't know. Let's learn what are those forms and gaps and kinds. Number one research gap form is variables. Yes. Your research gap is in the form of a variable. Can be one variable, can be two variables, can be three variables, can be a mediator, can be a moderator, or it can be factors of variables which previous study have not studied or failed to study. So what these studies do, that they highlight this point in their future research session they have, and in their research limitations section as well, that they have not studied these variables. So this is our limitations of our study. So in future research session they recommend for upcoming studies for future researchers to study these variables. These variables can be moderator, mediator, independent or dependent variable. The next point is relationship. Yes, research gap can be in the form of a relationship of your variables. It can be a relationship between independent and dependent variable. It can be a relationship between independent dependent variable and with moderator. It can be a relationship of mediator, how it's mediating the relationship between your independent and your dependent variable. So let's go to point number 3. The point number 3 is theory. Yes, research gap can be also in the form of a theory. This theory can be a new theory. Let's take example. You are reading an article. It's from 2019 and it has studied a theory which was studied in the past as well, but that theory was published in 2000, let's say 2 or 98, or more than 20 years later on. So this is a gap for you. You have to find the latest theory which fits in that current study research model. So this can be your research gap as well. So the research gaps form number 4 is sector. Yes, research gap can be also in the form of sector. For example, you have a base paper, you are reading it. This study has conducted a study in a banking sector, but in future research suggestions, the study is recommending that you can conduct this study in different sectors like IT, like energy, like power sector, okay, where the study has not been done before. So this is your research gap. Form number 5, research model. Yes, you can also find a research gap in the form of a model. First, you have to be pretty sure what is the research model used in that particular research or in your base paper. When you are pretty sure about that, then you can find your gap from the research model by studying that model, the variables, the relationship which they have studied, and you have to brainstorm that which variables, which relationships they could have studied and they have missed. Otherwise, you can see their research limitations and future research suggestions where that article should have and must have told you or discussed or highlighted that they have failed to study these variables and relationships in their model, or you can add these variables in this model to make it a new model or a different model from the current study. Point number 5. Point number 6, research area. Yes, research gap can be the form of research area. Let's suppose you are a marketing student. So a green market, you are about reading article green marketing. Okay, you find your gap from green marketing, that this area has not been studied by so many authors or by so many research scholars in your country, in your sector, in your domain. So this can be your research gap. Next is results. Yes, the results also gives you a research gap according to that current study. You can find a research gap easily from the results of a current study. How? For example, that study has failed to find any solid significant relationship or positive relationship, or their results are showing that all variables have negative relationship. So then this is your gap. This is your gap, that you want to study these variables to find a positive, a significant relationship. So this will be your research gap. Next point is methodology, very important. In most articles, if you read their research limitations, they clearly tell that their methodology was weak, their methodology needs to be changed, their research design they have studied was this, and due to this they have this drawback. and in the research session they suggest that you should use a different research design. So this is a research gap or methodologies best example. Next point is concept based. Yes, your gaps can be concept based, but you need to read articles related to that concept. Let's take example. For example, your concept is clear about, or your gap is on a variable which is related to green finance or green banking. Okay, then you have to read an article related to that, and then you have to link your concept with that. So because your without article in in scientific research, without any solid articles evidence, you cannot link your research, you cannot conduct your research, you cannot find your gap. I hope this point is clear to you. Next is countries. Yes, it varies state by state or country by country. For example, let's take example of a topic that we are measuring the financial performance of banking sector in one country. Okay, or we can say that Islamic banking performance. So in most of these countries, if you see in the world, Islamic banking is not used in some countries, but if you see in Islamic countries, it's used a lot. But now the things are changing in Western countries, they are also using Islamic banking. So you can conduct a comparative study that how those Western countries and Islamic banking, or you can say that those Western countries and that Islamic countries, the banks which are operating in Western and Islamic countries, how they are performing. You can conduct a comparative study, and your gap will be those countries which you will select in your study. So let's move to our next question. How to find a research gap? Very important. Let's learn. Number one, you can find research gap by reading later research papers on your area of interest, on your subject, on your domain, okay, on your research area, or article related to your specialization. Let's take example. You are doing your bachelor, MBA, master or PhD in finance, but you are conducting your research study in green marketing, then sorry, it's not possible. No, it's invalid. Okay, the proper example is that if you are a finance student, then you should be conducting study in some domain or subject of finance. Can be banking or finance, financial accounting, corporate finance, just say that investment portfolio management, corporate risk management, corporate restructuring, and there are so many. So in short, it should be related to your specialization. Okay, your area, your domain, your specialization, your subject, all that should be related to one field. And we back to our point, read latest research papers, because from reading latest research papers you will be able to find new, unique, latest research gap. Point number two, read literature. Yes, literature is very important. Most of us, we don't read literature, we skip literature because we are in a hurry to read an article. If you read literature review of a good article, of an impact factor journal article, then you will be able to find lots of gaps from over there related to your variable. But there is a requirement that you should have a topic at that time and you should have a variables. Then you will be able to read literature and find a research gap related to your variables and topics. Next is research implications. Yes, read a research implication part of a research paper or of a thesis if you are reading. Then you will be able to find implications of that current study. It can be in the form of variable, theories, relationships, sectors, or or we can say research areas, models, methodology, results, all the points which I mentioned earlier in this video. Next is research limitations. Very, very, very important. Whenever you are finding a gap, okay, so what you have to do is first you have to find a base paper. Base paper is that paper from which you have picked your variables or a topic, or you already find the research gap. So what you have to do that, go to that base paper, research limitations, and start reading it. A good base paper, a good research paper, if it's from good impact factor journal, then it must be telling you 3 to 4 limitations related to that study. How they will be telling you certain limitations. These research limitations will be based on their results, what their results they have found related to their findings of their research. So on their finding and result basis, they write limitation. The author of the article writes limitation that these studies have these kind of limitations. And trust me, there is no study in the world which does not have any limitations. Okay, so it must to have limitations. And one more thing, sorry for the spelling mistake of research limitations. I forgot to write I. So to research limitations. So this tell you about the limitation that current study has, and you can find research gap from here. Next is future research suggestions. Yes, very important. You should read future research suggestions from your base paper or article, or you're reading any thesis related to your field. Because why? In this future research suggestions section, the author of that article writes important key points that future researchers can highlight and conduct their study in current model, and how they can change this current model into a new model, and they can do their research. So that's why teachers say, researchers, scholars say that read future research suggestions of the article to find a research gap. So now I will tell you example how you can find a research gap. Let's learn. So learners, I am in front of a computer screen and I have opened a research article, and I am about to tell you how you can find a research gap, how you can identify a research gap from a research paper and or from your research based paper. So this is the article open in front of me. So I will go to its conclusion, as most articles have their research limitations and future research suggestions written under conclusion heading as well, and some write them in different headings, in separate headings I should say. So this is an article, and if I read its conclusion, it says that the study suggests that the marketers must come out with new and innovative ways to change the consumer's perception of the green marketing. For instance, in a matter of the price, green products should be availed to the consumers at much lower price to direct consumer base. So I have read this first paragraph, and by reading it I came to know that this article is related to green marketing. Okay, and plus it also it also has discussed the 4 P's of marketing, such as green price, green products, promotion, etc., and how they can attract customer base. So this is the small summary of this article, which I read and understood from this conclusions first paragraph. If I move down to second paragraph, if I read that one, at the time of data collection, most of the respondents conveyed that they think that the green products are mostly overpriced, which is true in most of the cases. But what about the herbal products? So as I read this paragraph, or I can say I read these 3 to 4 lines, I can easily find a gap. What it was that in this article is telling that currently they study the green products price which are overpriced, but this study is highlighting that what about the herbal products? So you can identify a gap like this. This is a research question which can be generated from this article's conclusion part. And what about the herbal products? Let's move ahead. Then it's saying that those are here cheap and popular among rural consumers. For increasing use of the green product, the marketer should lower the price level. Another gap comes here, that is telling about that the increasing use of green product. This is a gap. You can connect your study here. Then it's telling that we must try to motivate the customer toward green marketing by different awareness program and provide information about the green products and its ecological benefit. The philosophy that underlies for the green marketing should be delivered in mass consumer basis. So the study is telling that we can motivate consumers towards green marketing. So you can find a gap as well from here, that how you can motivate your customers towards green marketing, and how you can, and plus how with the help of philosophy, how you can deliver massively to your customers' requirement and needs. So you can find a good gap from here as well. If we move ahead, the second last paragraph, this says that besides for green marketing to be effective, marketers must maintain 3 things. Number 1, being genuine, Number two, educate their customers about green products, and number three, give them the opportunity to participate in their social responsibility to save the green planet. So from here we can find also three gaps must say. I must say that because it's telling that the green marketing, to be effective, marketers must maintain three things. So you can connect the study that if you want to be an effective marketer, you should maintain what things you can maintain. So this is a question which arises from here. Or you can also say that besides for green marketing, you can say that green marketing can be effective. How? Or you can say that how green marketing can be effective for marketers. Okay, this is also a gap from here you can find. Plus the 3 points which this paragraph is discussing. These all are research gap as well. How you can save the planet, the opportunities, what are the opportunities to participate in social responsibility to save the green planet. This is a gap number 2 here. So let's move to the last paragraph. About the green marketing tool, eco labeling and packaging should be highlighted over the eco-friendly features and information based on international standard besides an international standard should be implemented to remove the doubt of minds from the customers. Another topic we can find from these 3 to 4 lines is that customers have doubt about the green marketing. So you can conduct a study. What are the doubts which consumers have in their mind related to green marketing? Or you can conduct a study like this: the green marketing doubts. In simple words, or you can conduct a study that green marketing doubts which consumers have in their mind. Or you can conduct a study like this: what are the doubts which consumers have in their mind regarding green marketing? Okay, this example of research gap and research question which you can generate by reading a conclusion or a future research session of an article. So I hope learners it's clear to you. You understood how you can read a conclusion and how you can understand it, how you can read the limitations, future suggestions, and find a good research gap for your study. So that's it for today. If you learned from my video, then do like it. If you haven't learned anything from my video, then do dislike it. There is no issue. If you want more videos related to research, websites, skills, books, then do comment down below. I will try my level best for you to make a video on it. And if you want any video related to research topics, in fact I have made already 38 to 39 videos on research topics, how you can find research topic, the current topics, research topic ideas. In fact, you can also watch them and learn a lot from them. And don't forget to share this video with others so it can help others, especially those people who are unable to, who are still not clear about how they can find a research gap and they are unable to find a research gap. So share video with them as well. Thanks for watching. That's it for